7th of August 2024. You're welcome back. We're great watching there on my video on Victor Orban. And oh, you got it wrong. Oh, it's open. It's Orban. I said open. It's Orban. And then my computer is broke. My laptop is broke. This is on war. It owes me nothing. I have it a long time. It done fierce damage. But anyway, they're on there, get it right. And I worked with people who had great minds for minute detail. I went to a funeral one time of a person who had relations here in Donegal. And this chap at the funeral used to come up to visit his friends in my area. And he could tell me the number of the car I had back in about 1999. And I changed it in 2002, and he could tell me the number as well. Now, I was just one of the many people he saw going around. He had a head for that. But I said to him, what good does that do you? And I have noticed that people like that are usually no good at achieving or solving any problem. They're usually no good at achieving any problem. I often had to confront very awkward situations that I can't debate here, trying to help people or trying to fix some problem or even fixing a problem for myself, where you might have to go in and bang the table in the court office, or you might have to try and corner a judge or that type of thing. And I was very successful at that. I've often had to fix machinery and fix awkward parts of machinery and put steering columns in cars and all of that. And I was good at it. And here you see, you spell Orban, O-B-A-N, and he's O-R. Now, the thing about someone said he could be Obama or he could be Oban, but who knows who his father was? Who knows? Does it mean that much difference? And this is it, you see. I've always said, if you think small, you'll be small. There used to be an old saying called, save a match and buy a farm. I never subscribed to it. You go around picking halfpennies off the floor, you'll have a box of halfpennies. And when the changeover to the euro came, there was tons of copper coinage and silver coinage, apparently silver coinage, dumped away. That is a load of nonsense. If you think small, you will be small. And I don't like to think small. Now, it is about war anyway, and all the things about war. Now, you look at the Korean War, you know that song, The Kerry Recruit? About 4 years ago, I was digging the land with me brogues on my feet and me spade on my hand, and he went off to the war and he got badly wounded. Now, the next thing was we'd get the First World War. What possible difference would it have been if Britain had stayed completely out of the First World War? If they let the German Kaiser do what he liked, run round, if the French want to fight him, let them. If they don't want to fight him, let them too. Look what the French have done with their woke agenda. Look at the Olympics in Paris. Look at what fighting the Kaiser has done. How do we know the Kaiser wouldn't stop this nonsense of two men beating little women in the ring, and then the media like RTE and BBC bragging, Olympic medal for a transgender. And he has XY chromosomes, his testicles are internal, as far as I know, and he has all of the testosterone and all of this. Anyway, I saw a bit of boxing he did, this guy, this Khalid, and I believe I can see a penis. I believe I can see it. I don't have only marker. I can see it like this in his pants, his boxing shorts. But I'm not sure of that. But if I could get near him, of course you could be fined. I'd soon bloody well find out if I got a hold of him. I know law, I'd soon find out what he had. But the point about it is that this is what France has brought us. Thousands died, including an old ancestor of mine. He was having a drink of a Saturday night in Glasgow with two other lads, and they took the shilling and away they went. They were told it had all be over in 2 weeks. And he was killed. So I think there was no sense in the First World War. Archduke Ferdinand talking about that egot over in Arva and Glencolmkill and down in Clonakilty. Archduke Ferdinand. We got shot. We're better all day. What was the point in that? The next thing is you had the Second World War, and it was the defeat of Germany and the Versailles Treaty, where the huge reparations, where huge charges were put on Germany, that caused the rise of Adolf Hitler. They weren't too long forgetting about the reparations. He gave them no reparations, he gave them plenty of war. And then he was the excess, he was the other side. Now, he was a socialist, they call him far right. He was National Socialist Workers' Party of Germany. Anyway, when he went to throw his weight around, and I do agree he was a bit cruel in ways, but what if they didn't bother with him? Let him belt away. All right, you could argue about the concentration camps, perhaps, but what if they'd leave him alone? Him and Stalin bang away there. What was Britain getting involved in it for? Why were all the people dying in Britain and landing on the Normandy beaches? Would the horror that is the present EU be available? The present woke, liberal, mad EU. What was the point? Right, there'd be a big block of power in Europe, and Mussolini would be still there. But would it not all have sorted itself out eventually? I don't really see why we should have done that. You go over to New York and there's a monument there somewhere. Is it in Queens there? I saw it anyway. And there's 54,000 names of dead American soldiers drafted into the army, killed in Vietnam. Can anyone tell me what that was about? What was that about? Now, in North Korea, of course, they couldn't beat the North Koreans. The North Koreans are still there, even though it's a dictatorship of unbelievable cruelty. Still, was it any business of the United States? They tried to get stuck into Afghanistan. They were beaten out of it. They thought they were going to take the whole resources of Ukraine, and a big part of eastern Ukraine and Odessa and the Crimea was part of Russia. The Crimean War was part over that. Russia was the owner of that. And yet you get Irish people, oh, Putin, oh, look what he done. And they want to take back the North. Now, in the Irish Republican way of thinking, the north of Ireland is an occupied territory by the British. And they want them out of there. And yet, Crimea, the Donbass area, and there's another area there of Ukraine, are occupied by Ukraine. That's Russian people that were occupied there. Given away by Stalin, I admit. And Putin wants back his own property. They don't want to hear that. But the point is, Putin is cute enough and he got stuck in, and now he has them beaten. If the Democrats win the election in America, the Ukraine war will go on for at least 5 years. If they don't run out of money. If Trump wins, it will be wound up. That's the way it is. Now, over in America, Kamala Harris has chosen a guy called Tim Walz, a rip-roaring lefty from Minnesota. He said if Trump built the wall, he'd provide ladders so that immigrants could climb over them. He wanted tampons, sanitary towels in boys' toilets. And he has been chosen as the vice president. Now, as to who'll win that election, I'm not sure. I can't really speak my mind here fully. But at the moment, I think it's really level pegging. It's hard to believe that Kamala Harris and this Tim Walz would get a vote. But I was talking to a man the other night. I met him, and he's Irish, but he was in America for a long time. And I think he has a son, either illegal or illegal there. Trump destroyed America, he says. How would you vote? I'd vote for Harris. And there are a lot of people who really support this woke agenda. And the woke agenda inevitably leads to war. I said, would you have your son fight for them? Well, he says that we'll work for them, or we won't die for them. I'm afraid they may not have the choice. Now, in picking Walz, there was another guy from Pennsylvania called Shapiro. Don't quote me on the exact spelling. You guys that have nothing better to do only sit in your basement of your parents' home looking at the computer and seeing how I pronounce words. He's Shapiro. I can't think of his first name, but it's a name like that, but he's Jewish. Now, up to recently, the Jews controlled both the Democratic and Republican Party. For the amount of money they give to their election campaigns is unbelievable. It's billions. It's unbelievable at all levels. And they demand their pound of flesh. And that is that America supply Israel with arms and protect them against all attack. Now, there's still the case with the Republican Party. Trump is a bit of a wild card. He doesn't necessarily take orders from anybody. He is liable to do his own thing. They say he's a loose cannon, he's unpredictable, but he's predictable enough. I don't see anywhere he has changed his opinion all that much, except maybe where he had to, maybe a little bit. In a tight election, you have to yield a bit. But this Shapiro fella was Jewish. And in any other year, he'd have been chosen by Kamala Harris. Of course, she has no say. It's the party chooses, and that's by the money. But it shows shifting change. The winds of change are shifting because for once the Democrats bypassed a Jewish person in favour of a woke left. I'd say he's just an atheist type, but I'd say he could be of Christian background. Waltz, anyway, no, it doesn't really matter. So that shows you there's a big shift there. And there could be a lot of popular support for the Democrats in that because there's a sizable amount of people in America do not understand why America backs Israel. Now, don't take it that I'm joining any sides here. I'm not taking any side. I'm merely pointing out the developments. Now, meanwhile, Israel is killing all over the can in Iran. They're going into Iran and killing Hezbollah, killing Hamas, killing this fella and leaders. And I cannot understand how these leaders sit in a house where they're liable to be targeted. Wouldn't you think if you were the leader of Hezbollah or Iran or whatever you're, Iran or Hemaran or whoever the name is, when you think you'd move around, or at least you wouldn't stay in the one place. Now, there must be unbelievable intelligence being given out to the Israelis. But they're also getting it from the sky. They're all supplied by the Americans. And so this thing of attacking people and killing them in Iran is pushing the Iranians to have to act. They didn't want to act. But it's getting to the stage now they may have no option. So you could see the outbreak of some kind of war. And it's possible too that some kind of war like that will happen before the election in November. If they got a serious war going, or there was a nuclear bomb dropped, I'd say Biden would cancel the elections. A lot of people think there'll be no election. I like Trump and the other man he picked, J.D. Vance, but something tells me he's not going to make it. One way or the other, he had a bullet go that close to his ear, so I can say no more on YouTube. So the main point of this video, folks, is to let you see how the change is happening. There was no way up until 2024 a non-Jewish candidate would be chosen over a Jewish candidate. And it has happened now. And they didn't even pick a center line person. They picked this guy, Tim Walz. So we're stuck with this woke thing. We're stuck with it everywhere. It's a heavy lift to get it off our back. Whether we will or not, I don't know. They're telling us about war. We have to hate the Russians. Nobody can tell me what the Russians ever did. I don't see anything wrong with any Russians I ever met. I don't know what the whole problem is. We should be getting on with them. Trump said, wouldn't it be nice if we can get along? They're talking about collusion with the Russians, as if there's some kind of criminals. Right, there's corruption there, surely. And what about Ireland? What about Britain? What about America? Thing is, I'd love to see the population of the Western world conditioned against war. Because the defence for war was that we had to protect our borders, protect our sovereignty. And the fact that they've allowed in all these migrants and all of this is happening in the UK simply means that the governments have no interest in sovereignty at all. And recently, last Monday, there was a drop in the Japanese stock market the carry trade, the whole stocks, the Dow Jones and all, took a hit. That's all to be seen yet. But one stock did not take a hit, and that's Lockheed Martin, huge manufacturers of military hardware. The whole money is going into war. And this is a carbon copy of what happened before the First World War and what happened in the Second World War, when the deep recession in the United States was solved by war, by the death of the Americans and the manufacture of weapons of war. That's my tuppence halfpenny worth. Hopefully I've sailed near enough to the line there. Don't think they'll ban me there, but that's it. So war, folks. We gotta realise that the Irish government is ripping mad for war, and they have made it clear. And even yet, they think they're going to win something in the Ukraine. That's going to be a tough job for them, I'll tell you. Folks, we'll see you back for something else. Bye bye. Comment underneath and good luck.